Hello, welcome back. I know it's been a long time, right? This is the Creative Obsession Podcast. My name is Gary, and I am coming to you from just outside of Portland, Oregon. Today is Thursday, December 29th. It's been a few weeks since I last recorded. I took the Christmas break off. I had thought about maybe recording the week of Christmas, but I just really didn't feel like I had time. So waiting an extra week, it feels a little bit strange to get back into it after 3 weeks. So I'll try and kind of roll along. So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, and I'll put all the information on the screen so you can check it out. Anything that I mention as far as links or patterns or anything like that, I will put in the show notes down below this YouTube channel. So you can find all that stuff. If you ever have a question, just message me. Either Ravelry or Instagram is a great way to get a message to me. I also have a Ravelry group for this podcast, and there's an Ask Me Anything thread there in case you feel the desire to ask anything there. I'm a pretty open book. So yeah, so let's get started. I feel like I need to just kind of start because it feels odd. It feels a little bit awkward. So I don't want to be awkward. I like to start my podcast talking about the quilt that's on the wall in my Sew Now What section. So the quilt that's on the wall behind me is a quilt that a friend of mine made. And she brought it to me to do the long arm quilting on. If you're new to this podcast, I am a retired long arm quilter. I long arm quilted for customers for about 11 years. So back in 2007, I think, is when she made this and gave this to me. And I loved it. I thought it was just beautiful. And she likes to make quilts, made beautiful, beautiful quilts, and would just fold them up and put them in a closet, never to be seen again. And I thought it was a shame for this quilt to just be stuffed in the closet. So I bought it from her and I quilted it. I quilted it like over the top quilting because I felt like it needed it. And this hung up in my living room over my couch for quite a while. It's a pretty good size square, and I have really high ceilings in my living room, and it fit just perfectly in there. And that hung in there for quite a few years until I kind of just got tired of looking at it. And so then I put it away. And so I brought this quilt out because I kind of wanted to talk about what my 2017 goal. I don't like to make resolutions because I just don't. I don't think they stick, and I don't know, I just don't. But for 2017, I really want to try and declutter. As a crafter, I've crafted my whole life. You acquire quite a few little bits and pieces because you never know when you might need something. And I've got stuff everywhere. As I've mentioned before, I have taken over pretty much the whole upstairs with my various crafts. This studio of mine here is my sewing quilting area. Being that I did it as a business, I needed this space, and I can't imagine not having this space. But I've also spilled out into other areas of the house because I've got the room. And so I want to try and declutter. And part of that is finding a new home for some of the quilts I have. For instance, this quilt here, it's a gorgeous quilt. She put a ton of work into it. It's not my style anymore. It was 10 years ago, but it's not anymore. And it's a square, not quite big enough to fit on a queen size bed. It would fit on the top, but wouldn't hang over. So it wouldn't really be a useful quilt as far as using it on your bed. And so I have a couple of quilts like that I've made over the years that were either, I want to try a new technique, or you get some pretty fabric or a cool pattern and you just need to make it. And I don't need them. I just don't need them, but I don't know what to do with them. I hate to get rid of this is valuable. I hate to get rid of it. I don't know that she'd want it back. I will check with her first before I decide to do anything with it. But I need to go through stuff like that and be mindful of do I still need this? Do I use this? This hasn't been out for a few years now. So, and I don't see me putting it up anywhere anymore. I would love to put it on my extra bed, but it's a queen size bed. And like I said, it would just fit just sort of on the top, and I could do that, but it's not my style anymore. So I need to start going through some of my stuff and decluttering and go through and say, do I still really need this anymore? The sun's coming out. You might see a difference in the light as the sun is going behind clouds and stuff like that. So hopefully that's not too distracting. So anyway, that's going to be kind of my goal. Do I use this? Have I used this in a long time? The problem with that is I might not use something for quite a while, and then something comes along and you need it. For instance, over Christmas, in wrapping my gifts, I made little tags, and I had stamps, rubber stamps that were for Christmas, and they were perfect for my gift tags. Now, I haven't stamped anything in years. I used to do cards and just little, whatever, I used to do scrapbooking and stuff like that. And I just don't do that anymore. And I haven't for a really long time. But I'm glad I still had that stamp, because it would have sucked if I had to go out and buy a new stamp for that. I could have done something different, but it was really cool that I was able to make what I made because I had the equipment for it. So that's where it gets really hard for me, because I want to keep everything. Someday I could have a use for this. And I'm pretty good about not keeping small bits and pieces of fabric and stuff, because I do know it's like, okay, at a certain point it's just not usable. I'm not really into scrappy quilts and the look of that for myself, so I know I'd never make it. So I'm pretty good about that. It's just all the other stuff. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with what I'm feeling as clutter. And the clutter is just that extra stuff. It's like, do you really need it? Need to get myself a little bit more organized, because I, took on making project bags. I took on hand dyeing yarn and just sort of immerse myself in that without getting myself really, really organized with it. So I feel like I need to organize stuff like that a little bit better. So that's my goal. That's my goal for 2017. Part of that is also deciding on what projects just aren't working for me anymore as far as my knitting. One of them is this shawl. I showed this shawl pretty early on in my podcasting journey, which I'm coming up to a year pretty soon, which is unbelievable. And I don't wear it. I rarely wear it because it's too small. It ended up being just a little bit too small for me to do anything. It's not long enough for me to really wrap around. It's too small to just wear as a shawl. So I don't wear it. And I thought, you know what, I could make better use of it if I tore it apart. I mean, it was a learning experience to make it. It was the first shawl I had made. It was the first like lace type pattern chart type thing that I followed. So I did get something out of it that way. But I feel like I need to repurpose it, because I would get more use of it, even if it was just a pair of socks. It's fingering weight yarn. It was made with Blue Moon Fiber Arts yarn. It would make a really pretty pair of socks, which at least I would wear those. I would have those out and I would wear them more often than I wear this. It did happen to go with my sweater today, so I thought I'd wear it. Another thing that I'm gonna rip out is a cowl shawl kind of thing. I showed quite a while ago. Haven't touched it in a long time because I'm not liking the way it's looking. I didn't want to rip it out until I was for sure not going to do anything with it. And so it has been sitting for probably a good 6 months or more maybe. And I'm not going to finish it. I don't like the way it's looking. I won't wear it. And so I'm going to rip it out. Let me show you what that is. So if you've been watching me for a while, you've seen me start this, and it was a Stephen West pattern. It still is a Stephen West pattern. Let me pull it out of my bag here. And it's the battage shawl. And I really was enjoying it at first. And then as it progressed, just don't think I'm liking it. Don't really like, I think the pink and the gray go together well. I don't like how it looks in this particular piece. And I don't know I don't think it's going to be comfortable for me to wear. So, and it has these welts that you do, which was fine at first, but as they get bigger, because you're progressively making it bigger, it just became something I dreaded doing. So that's where I was. That's where I left off, as I was in the middle of making the next welt. And I thought, yeah, no, not going to happen. So the bummer part of it is that as you made this, you had to cut your yarn of your main color midway through because you didn't go back all the way back around to the beginning. So I could still use this yarn for something as an accent piece or something like that. The gray is all one piece, so I didn't waste that. But I just wasn't sure what to do because I put, so far this represents a lot of work, and I liked the idea of it. I'm not going to wear this. There's no way. So I'm going to take it apart and try and salvage what I can on the pink yarn. It was Bumble Birch yarn, and I do still have a lot, and I could end up maybe making a pair of socks. I'd have to weigh this and see how much is left. But and then the gray is a Three Irish Girls, I believe. Yes, Three Irish Girls yarn. So good yarns, but this is going to be my declutter and because every time I go, oh, what's in that bag? It's like, oh, that's right. I have that project. I should finish that. I don't know what to, and I thought, you know what? I need to just get that off my back and just not deal with it anymore, and maybe use that yarn for something that I will enjoy. So I don't have a lot. I don't have other projects. There's a pair of socks, my Mystic Spiral socks. I'm thinking I'm going to have to rip those out because I don't pick them up. I need to just do vanilla socks when I do socks. So that's just the way it is. So anyway, that's part of my whole, that was part of why I picked this quilt, because it's part of my whole effort to declutter and try and be a little bit more organized and less stuff. We'll see how I do. I may not do very well, but I'm going to try it. So over the Christmas holiday time, I did, what was I working on? I don't remember. I think I made a dozen dishcloths and gave those to family members, and I think they really liked them. I finished Jim's hat. He seems to like it. It's hard to tell, but I think he'll wear it. And then I decided, oh, I should make my mom some fingerless mitts. So I made her some fingerless mitts, and I knitted my dad a hat, and it was like crunch time and, get this all done. And I got it all done and gifted in time for Christmas. And then it was like, all right, now I can work on my own stuff. Except that I decided to cast on something kind of last minute. So I was preparing to leave for the beach. This will be the third year in a row that we've gone away to the beach or gone away somewhere for Christmas with Jim and my son and his partner, and the four of us go and we bring the dogs and we just have a vacation. And so I was doing really good. I thought I'll bring this project and I'll bring this one. And I thought, no, really being conscious of what I'm going to be doing. I'll be visiting, we'll be watching TV, we'll be interrupted, not to bring anything too thought-provoking. And I had myself all set. Last minute, I was winding yarn as Jim's packing up the car because I thought I need to make something that I wanted to make. And I thought, timing-wise, it worked out. So a friend of mine is having a birthday coming up, and I really wanted to make her something with my yarn that's called Sea Glass. So I cast it on a project, and it ended up being really good because it's very simple, very mindless. It's going really fast. And it's what I ended up working on most of the weekend. So it is a pattern by Lisa Much, and it's called Decibel. So now this is a paid for pattern. She, a while back, offered it as a free pattern. And just as a promotional thing. And so I got it when it was a free pattern, but it's a paid for pattern now. I can't do it. There we go. So that's what it's going to look like. It's a fairly narrow scarf shawl sort of thing. I'm not really sure what you would call it, but long. And I thought this will be perfect because she can wear it kind of as a loose scarf. She can kind of wrap it around as a cowl. She lives in a warmer climate, so she won't need to bundle up necessarily. So here it is so far. So this is my sea glass. And then I had been playing around with some, trying to do some sort of semi-solids, and I've got this like citron green that goes with it. And I thought it looks very beachy, which she lives at the beach, and I hope she's not watching. I don't know that she watches. And if she does, then she gets to see her birthday present early. But if not, then she'll be surprised. So I'm on this last little bit. I just have like a few, another inch or so to go, and then it's finished. And so this was primarily my knit for my Christmas holiday. So I think it's turning out really well. I'm enjoying working on it because, like I said, it is kind of like the vanilla sock type of thing. You just sort of just knit. It's knit with fingering weight yarn on size 7. So it knits up pretty fast. It's real squishy and stretchy. So I know when I block it, it's going to make it more airy even, which I think will be perfect for where she lives. So that was sort of my last minute, like I need to bring this with me. And I'm so glad I did because I feel like I did really well with making progress on it. So almost done with that. And then I will be able to mail it off to her. And hopefully she'll like it. I think she'll like it. Another thing I brought, but I didn't work on, but I thought I'd show you guys because I haven't shown it in a while, is my Vente shawl. I'm really pretty close. I'm kind of, it just takes a while to get through each section, because it's getting so big. When did I last? So last time I showed you, I was here. So I've done a little bit more of the striping. I don't know if you can see very well. You get vertical stripes and horizontal stripes. This is it's been a very pleasurable knit. It just takes me a long time to get from one end to another. And so once I get through the vertical and horizontal striping, then, let's see, this picture might show it. So I'm in this last bit right here, and then I just have like a few rows of, which I'll do in the red, and then it's done. So, maybe 2 or 3 inches that I have left to go. I thought I would work on it, and I just didn't because I got working on that decibel shawl. But this is getting really close, and I'm really wanting to get those bigger projects off my needles because, oops, put my instructions away. Oh, that goes with that one. Because I'll talk about what I want to cast on soon here. But I need to get those 2 things off my needles because those are some bigger projects. Another thing I tried so hard, and this I had been saving to work specifically on, specifically for this holiday break that I just had. And it's the Copilot cowl, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry by Domonique Trad, I'm not sure which. And I thought, oh, that would be nice to have a nice cowl that just wraps around. I thought I had yarn. I did have yarn that I thought that I was going to use for it. But when I was going through to pull yarn for an upcoming project, I pulled out this skein that I had, and I thought, that would look really pretty in this cowl. So I cast it on. I worked it about an inch or inch and a half. Realized I was in a twist. I don't know how that happened. I was being so careful. You have to cast on 260 stitches. So it's a huge cast on. I was so frustrated. I thought, how in the world? But it did. It happened. And so then I ripped it all apart, cast it all back on again, super careful, making sure I didn't get myself in a twist. Got this far again, and it's in a twist again. I was like, darn it. I don't want it in a twist. So I got kind of pissed off and I threw it in the bag and said, forget it. I'm not dealing with this anymore. But if I do it, it's going to be really pretty. So this represents hours of work because it's the second time I cast it on, and then knitting 260 stitches takes a while. I even got further than this the first time before I realized I was in a twist. But it's hard to tell because, you know, your cable wants to kind of twist. So I'm trying to like follow it, see if I'm getting it straight. And I get to the end, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm straight. Heck no, I'm in a twist. So I have to rip it all out, start again. But I do think this yarn will be perfect for it. And it's a yarn by Pandia's Jewels. And it is colorway Dark Enchantress on the squidgy base, which is 100% superwash merino. There's the tag for it. But I think it'll be really pretty. I think it's going to make a really nice cowl if I can just keep it straight. I was so frustrated because I really had been saving this pattern to work on that because I thought, oh, that's the mindless project I need to bring. So I didn't get anywhere with that. So I will start that again. I am going to concentrate on getting the 2 shawls that I have on the needles finished first, I think, because then I can feel like I can devote what I need to devote to this. Something else that I started since the last time I talked with you guys is I picked up the crochet bug and I started a crochet fingering weight blanket, which I didn't think I would ever do. I haven't gotten very far, but let me show you what I've done. Okay, so this is it so far. I just recently showed a picture of it on Instagram. Let me, there we go. So what I'm doing is, okay, so here's the deal. Everybody's getting on this bandwagon of this crochet blanket, and I thought, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. I don't need a blanket. I have quilts. I don't need a blanket. I'm not going to do it. And then I did it. I'm like, I at least need to try. And I like to join in on things, but I like to make things my own way and not do what everybody else is doing. Just because I don't want it to be like I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. So I'm kind of doing what everybody else is doing in the fact that I'm crocheting with my leftover fingering weight yarn, but I'm not doing the granny deal. And what I decided to do is to put black every once in a while in there. So I ordered some black Knitter's Pride Stroll, I think is what it is. I don't want to dig through there and find it. I think it's Stroll. They're fingering weight yarn. And so I got that. And what I decided to do is every 3 rows of color, whatever leftover mini type thing I have, and then a row of black, then 3 rows of color and a row of black. And I think for one, that'll help me make my blanket bigger without having to have so much dyed yarn. And I think it's kind of cool. It gives it a graphic look. It is getting, I did 300. Okay, to give you all the specifics. How many did I do? Did I write it down? 300, and I did 309. So you had to do it in sets of 8. Sets of 8 plus 5 or something like that. So I got 309, which makes it pretty, it'll make a plenty big blanket. Something that I would just throw on my lap when I'm watching TV or something. But what's happening, I don't know if you can see, it's hard to tell, but it's getting like a curve to it. And I think what's happening is as I'm getting more comfortable with the crochet, my gauge is loosening up a little bit. You know, the weight of, it's all fingering weight yarn, but you know how some yarns are a little thicker than others. And I also think that I may have been, in trying to make sure I keep my edge straight, I may have been doing something funky there. not sure, but it's getting kind of this bow to it. And what's funny is, with quilting, everything has to be so precise, and otherwise it just doesn't go together right. And so for so many years, I've been pretty particular about everything being close to perfect. And with this, I'm just letting it fly. I'm okay if it ends up having a bow in it, it ends up having a bow in it. It's going to keep my lap warm just the same. I'm still going to be able to enjoy the colors, and so I'm just kind of going with it. I'm going to try and see. I do know in the beginning, working with the black is really hard. I'm not a big fan of the Stroll. First time I really worked with it, but it's kind of splitty. And so I have a tendency, like when you're pulling your hook through, you're kind of splitting it a little bit, and you can't see. I mean, it's really hard to see where your stitches are. So when I started, I know I kind of messed up because I couldn't tell if I was supposed to do a single crochet or a double crochet, because for one, I didn't know crochet. It's the first time I've crocheted anything like this. I didn't know how to read it, and I'm getting better at reading it now, just like learning how to knit, and you can kind of look and see. Now I can see most of the time what I've done wrong, and so I know when I started I probably missed a few things. I don't know, you're supposed to do like 4 doubles, 4 singles, 4 doubles, 4 singles, and do that, and then so you do 2 rows of that, and then when you go in with your next color, you just do it the opposite, so that where you have your 4 doubles becomes a single on top, where you had your 4 singles becomes your 4 doubles, and so then it interlaces. I know that I was like down in here, some of them had 5 and some had 3, and didn't really know where I was, and then I corrected things. I corrected it, I think, with right around in here. And so correcting it, I think maybe where it's now starting to bow. So it may just now straighten out from here on. Maybe I need to block it. I don't know. But anyway, I did go down the crochet rabbit hole. This is as far as I've gotten. I don't have minis. I haven't collected minis. I didn't feel like I ever needed any. So far this is all yarn that I've actually made stuff with. Like, where is it? This right here, underneath this aqua, is this shawl. So everything is something that I've made something with, which is kind of cool. I am kind of coordinating the colors to a degree. If something didn't look good next to another color, I won't put it there. I won't just randomly grab something out. So it's scrappy, but it's kind of a controlled scrappy, which is more to my liking. And so I'm liking it so far. I do really enjoy the crochet. At least this. I mean, this is simple. It's single crochet and double crochet. It's not a whole lot of anything. It's like your most basic thing, I think, but it's great. It's got a different rhythm to it than knitting does, because knitting I can do, and I can do pretty mindlessly most of the time if I'm not reading a chart or something like that, and I love that. It's great for like when I'm watching TV, but my mind really wanders and kind of starts going all over the place. But with this, I'm still having to kind of concentrate on it, and there's just a different rhythm to your hook going in and out and all that. So I'm also trying to work on my style or my technique, I guess, so that I'm not twisting my wrist too much, because that makes my wrist sore. So I'm trying to like rotate my hook a little bit more. I am using an E size hook, which is a 3mm. And I like the fabric it's making. One of the things I'm not a big fan of with crochet in general is that it's holey and bunchy. It's like bunchy and holey, and I like a smoother finish. That's why I like knitting so much. And so this is giving me that same kind of texture. It's thicker because it's crochet, but it's not holey. And so I do like this size for the fingering weight that I'm doing. I just have to try and keep it from continuing to curve. Although it'll just wrap around me really nicely all by itself. So I'm going to be looking for people that are doing swapless swaps, because I don't have much to swap. I'm not going to swap, but I want to get in on a swapless swap where you just pay a fee and you get minis. So I'm on the lookout for that. I know with the new year, new stuff will come along. And just work on that. That might take me 10 years to finish, and I'm okay with it. It's not, like I said, it's not like I have to have a blanket for anything. It's not anything I would throw on a bed. It's just something I would throw on my lap when I'm watching TV or something and just kind of cuddle up on. And then have, for the most part, have yarns that I've used in some of my projects. So yes, I went down the crochet rabbit hole and I'm liking it in there. It's really fun. Okay, now I want to talk about what I'm going to be working on coming up. So it's been all over Instagram. It's the Find Your Fade shawl by Andrea Mowry of Renee Knits. And it's a nice big shawl. And the idea is you pick a color and you start somewhere, pick a color, and then you find a color that's in that one that's in the next skein. And then something that's in that one that goes to the next skein. And then it sort of just fades in and all goes together. Love the idea of it. Love the idea of it. I love that it's bigger. Like I said, the smaller style doesn't work for me. So, in the midst of getting ready for Christmas, of course, what do you need to do? You need to try and pull yarn for your next project, right? So I had fun. I posted a couple pictures on Instagram, and I had fun digging through. And I started with what I had in my stash. And I don't have a huge stash. And what I have is stuff that I got at the 2016 Rose City Yarn Crawl that's in Portland. And I got that like February, something like that. And so I pulled all my yarns from that. Some of them are yarns that I picked up on Etsy and stuff. And I started with that and tried a couple different combinations. And I would look at something, I'm like, these all go together, but something's just not talking to me. It's all too much one color or something. So it took a little while. I would leave it, go about my day, maybe go back and look at it the next day or something. I'm like, yeah, nope, something's not quite right. And so it was this kind of like, how about this? And how about this? And what if I did this? And what if I moved these two, So I came up with a plan and I'm excited about it. So it's going to start with this, which is a Jellybeans yarn. Oh, I don't have the tag. Jellybeans yarn. Don't remember the color. I'll put it on the screen because I'll look. I don't know why there's this in there. Anyway, so this is got all different colors in it. It's mostly like a black charcoal gray with pops of all these different colors. So, anything could go with that. Then I'm going to put purple. So this is Plum Crazy. So then I ended up, this is the only thing not from my shop. I ended up raiding the cupboard that has all my shop yarn in it because I can. So starting with this, then it goes to the purple, which is Plum Crazy. Then it goes to this, which is Time Warp. Then it goes to, what did I put next? This, I believe, which is Sea Glass. It's the same one that I'm making my friend's shawl out of. And then this is one of the new ones that was offered as a kit, and I have a couple that I'll put in the shop. And this is I Love You More. And then, I can't hold them all because there's 7. I'm going to put them in this tub. Hang on a second. So this is the order. So I'm starting with Jellybeans, going to the purple, going to Time Warp, which has purple in it, and greens and golds and stuff like that. Goes with the Sea Glass. The Sea Glass goes with I Love You More. This is Will You Be Mine? So you've got the kind of coral color and gray, and coral color and gray, and then this is Raspberry Beret will be the end. So then when you wrap it around you, you figure like all these colors will go together. And it all starts with one, moves into the next. And so I'm really excited to start this. I need to get those other shawls finished first. Let me show here. Here's a full picture. The picture's kind of dark, but hopefully you can see how it's going to fade across and be really cool. So I think you start with the smaller side, like where she's got it in the gold here. That will start with this color and work its way across. Here's your visual. It's going to go like that. No, it's going to go opposite of that. It's going to go like that. So anyway, I'm really excited. Once I put these colors together, it was like, oh yeah, that's much better. It just had more pizzazz to it instead of it looking too blended, because I was afraid if I picked everything to be kind of the same color, it's like, what's the point? You might as well just knit it all out of one color. I like the idea of one fading into the next and it all just sort of going together just because it does. So that's going to be my next big shawl, which I had planned on making the shawl loop. And when I was looking at, because I was going to wind that yarn up, and I was looking at the pictures of projects and stuff, and I think it's going to end up being a shawl that's too small, that I won't end up wearing because it's too small. So I think I'm going to go this route, and that's going to be my next big shawl project that hopefully I'll be able to start pretty early on in 2017. Another thing that's going to be coming up is, I know I've mentioned my friends Leslie and Michelle that have the Knotty Knit Wits podcast, and they have a podcast group for that. And on their podcast and with their group, they're going to do a 2017 Knotty Knit Wits Sock It 2017 knit along. Basically knit a pair of socks every month. And that's a pretty big goal for me because I don't knit socks very fast. I think I need to stick with vanilla socks, which would go a lot faster. And I need to have fewer projects on the needle so I can concentrate more on what I've got going on and not have so many things going on. And I know it was Christmas. I had a lot of stuff that I had to do, but whatever. So I think this was a skein that I dyed kind of as an experiment. And I mean, it wasn't what I had intended it to look like, but it's okay. I think I'm going to do this as my January socks so that it'll be done for February for me to wear them as kind of my Valentine's socks. So I think this is going to be my first cast on, which I will cast on New Year's Eve, because I think you can cast on New Year's Eve. So anyway, I'll put a link to their podcast and to their Ravelry group so that if you want to join, you should join. They're going to have prizes. I'm donating some stuff for them as soon as I can get together with them. And try and knit a pair of socks every month. It's not something you have to commit to for the whole year. I mean, I'm going to commit to trying to do it the whole year, but each month will be its own thing. So if I knit a pair of socks for January and I'm good to go, and then February I don't make a pair of socks, I just don't get to, I'm not eligible for anything for February, but I can pick it back up in March. So you can go to their Ravelry group and see the details and stuff like that, but it would be really fun. So if you haven't joined anything like that yet, I encourage you to join the Knotty Knit Wits Sock It 2017 knit along, because it'll be good. So those are my big kind of upcoming things, and it's not even 2017 yet. And the thing is somebody will come up with a new pattern that I've just got to make, and it's going to mess my whole plan up. But I'm going to at least start, that way, and hope that I can actually make progress on that. Okay, one more thing before we go. A lot of you may have seen or may already have the new magazine, the new Rib magazine. It's a knitting magazine for men or people that knit for men. And since I have men in my life, I thought this would be pretty cool. Beautiful magazine. It's more like a book, actually. Very well done. It's got some neat patterns in it. I really want to make that pair of fingerless gloves for somebody. I don't know if anybody would wear them, but I like them. I want to make them. So yeah, some really neat stuff. So if I will put a link to where you can hopefully look and get this. I don't know if you can get this issue anymore. This is their first issue, and it's Eric Lutz from Sticks Plus Twine and Derek. What's Derek's last name? I don't know Derek's last name. Oh, Devin. Sorry, Devin. Devin Johnson, and he and his wife have Handmade and Woolen podcast, and he did all the photography. So anyway, they put out this really nice magazine, and I recommend if you are a man or knit for men that this might be something for you. So that's really all I have for today. I hope you all have a good New Year's and safe New Year's, and I will be back in a couple of weeks and get back on our regular schedule. And yeah, who knows what 2017 is going to bring. I could have never guessed that I'd be sitting here today at the beginning of this year. So my Podiversary is coming up in February, and so I'm trying to make some plans for some giveaways for that. If you know of somebody or you are a maker and would like to donate any kind of prizes, I am more than happy to take them and promote your business if you have anything. But I'm going to try and put together some giveaway stuff just to celebrate a year, which will be in February. So I'm trying to think ahead. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Enjoy your New Year's, and I will see you next time.